Sports Afield Real Estate proudly presents the Land Journal, where we talk about all things land, real estate, management, and all the joys that come with land ownership.
All right. We'd like to welcome you all. This is the Land Journal, sponsored by Sports Afield Real Estate. And this is our very first, and we're ready to go.
Our debut.
Yeah. We got Drew, Travis, Patrick, and myself, Dale.
All the way from Illinois here today.
Yeah, in Studio 280 here in Freeburg, Missouri. So,
absolutely.
Just wanted to touch on real estate, land management, hunting, a little bit of everything throughout the year, and we should keep it pretty fun. So
yeah, hopefully this podcast is educational to some and entertaining to others.
I'm sure it'll be a little bit of both.
Right. I'm sure we can teach people from our mistakes, and we're fortunate to be in the real estate business, so we do see a lot of different ways practices are put in on different farms, and hopefully we can share some of our insight and our knowledge with other people to help them with whatever they're doing. So
yeah. So we'll let you start, actually, Travis. Travis Tarrant, co-owner, broker, Sports Afield Real Estate. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, you bet. So Sports Afield Real Estate is a traditional real estate brokerage that offers listing services, buyer representation, and also auction services. So our focus is land-based, recreational farms, ag farms, homes on land, whatever it might be. That is our specialty. Everybody that works for us is versed in the outdoors and land ownership and land management and several years of land sales. I've been licensed real estate broker since 2007 and have been fortunate to sell and be a part of a lot of transactions on farms and auctions and all the things. So we love what we do and market all the properties that we get to advertise for our clients to our best ability, and we hope that, like I said, things that we learn along the way can be shared and taught to other people that are, excited about maybe buying their first place, or somebody that has bought 10 places. There's a wide variety of who we deal with every day. So hopefully we can take what we've learned and pass it along. So.
Yeah, and you really touched on that offer agents and brokers, they're land guys. I mean, they're in the field, whether they're working or not. They're going to be in the field every day almost. So that really makes a big difference when you talk about understanding those properties and marketing them to their fullest potential, in my opinion. So Patrick, you've been in it for a little while, and
going on 9 years. So
9 years, very good. Drew, how about yourself?
I've had my license, I think, for 10 years or so. It was this was not a planned career move at all, related to Travis. And he kind of approached me about getting my real estate license. And, life's kind of weird where you kind of develop a picture of what you think a real estate agent is. And I thought, man, what in the world? Why would he think I would want to do that? My image of a real estate agent was kind of like the used car salesman guy, and I thought, man, this is just not. What skill set do I have? What knowledge base do I have? And got into it really, real estate in general, because I thought I was going to be flipping houses, and really not realizing that I did have some knowledge base. I mean, like you said, we're on farms, we're on ground, we're all the time, so we're continually gaining knowledge. But we don't realize we're doing it.
Yep.
It's just part of our lifestyle. So once that kind of clicked in my brain, because we deal with it all the time. I call them a penny loafer real estate agent, where they just take the picture from the truck or whatever, or even people that we have they don't have conversations with. They'll say, "Well, I don't know anything about land." I'm thinking, well, what's to know? Well, there is a lot to know, but it's just normal for us. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I've had my license for 10 years. Again, I got into flip houses, and then I realized that wasn't for me at all. But once I kind of flipped the switch in my brain to understand, like, hey, I can understand, and I realize what people are wanting in hunting ground, and once you make that connection, I was like, oh, this is a pretty good fit for me.
Yeah, I would agree. When you start, some people struggle with making those phone calls, because you feel like you're begging for business or you're trying to convince them something. But once you realize that you are offering a very good service and you are taking care of them and you're doing them a service and helping them, whether it be get the best marketing and the best price for their property, it makes it a lot easier to make those phone calls because you are legitimately helping them. It's not just a job. It's not about the paycheck. It's about helping people and that makes it really easy. So and a lot of fun.
Yeah, it took me quite some time to convince Drew that he could pull it off, and he did it simultaneously with his machining job for quite some time. But he did take that jump, and I think for a lot of people, the most difficult part is getting away from that assurance that you have a check every week. Like that is a big hurdle mentally. And it takes a lot of time. So, but anyway, he's past that and has been for a long time.
Yeah.
The only buddy in charge of his check these days is him. So.
No, it's been great, and just even from a quality of life standpoint, my wife says I'm not nearly as grumpy. I'm not saying, she didn't say I'm not grumpy. She said I'm not nearly as grumpy, but it is. I like the one-on-one relationships you have with landowners and sellers. I'm not an extroverted guy. I don't seek out big crowds, but the one-on-one, the dialogue with someone you can have, and kind of finding out about why they like that property and why it's a family legacy property. That's enjoyable because everyone has a story, and like you said, when you have the ability to market that at the highest level and do them a service and showcase that property, boy, it's a fun thing.
It feels pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you can.
Very rewarding.
Yeah. And they appreciate that. I mean, when you get that appreciation from those clients, and most of them become friends, really good friends.
Absolutely.
I mean, I've had clients from a decade ago, that we're still keep in touch and talk all the time just about family stuff and personal life and stuff like that. So it's really rewarding.
That's definitely the most rewarding for sure.
Yeah. So
How long you been selling real estate, Dale?
13 years.
13 years.
Just celebrated 13 years. Yep. So actually probably pretty close to the day almost, right? It was in January, so you'd be pretty close.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when those pictures, the harvest pictures of turkey or deer start rolling in, that's the that's the rewarding part of the job.
Yeah, when you work with those buyers, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those come on for years. I mean, I got guys from, still sending me because I want them. I tell them, like, send me those pictures. Anytime you get anything, that's what makes it, so it works out pretty good. But, like you said, too, you had those skill sets that you didn't even know because you already just had them. They were just natural. Same thing, I credit mine as a builder before, so I kind of have a grasp of, both houses and building and structural, and then you get into the whole farming and hunting and stuff that was just already natural to us because we've been doing it our whole lives, so it really does make a big difference on how those farms get marketed and how everything gets handled. So I think it also works really good because you understand what those buyers are looking for too.
For sure.
It's not just that you understand because you're in the same boat. You're looking at that land, so it gives you a different lens of what you're looking in for those qualities.
Yeah, put yourself in those shoes from a hunter or whatever, and it's like, well, you're looking at this field or this draw, and it's like, well, that looks really good. It's like those natural things help out a ton when you're helping people out.
Yep.
So.
Yep. How you guys? What's your market looking like over there and across the river?
Yeah, I'd say the market's still very strong. Prices are elevated, higher than we've ever seen, and continue to hold. We were talking earlier about early on in our real estate careers, $3,000 an acre, $3,250, $3,500. Like if you sold something for $4, like, hey, set a new record, and those numbers just don't exist anymore. No. The baseline is $5 an acre, 55, 6, 65, and you even see on some of the premium properties that are what everybody considers turnkey, where they're ready for somebody to come in and start killing deer or whatever that recreational purpose might be. They bring a big number anymore. So market strong, still not a lot of inventory. It's not. It's just like Patrick said, he's got to go show a 80-acre farm here today, and when those properties hit, you got to go look at them because they ain't going to be there very long.
Yep.
There's not many to look at, and it's like he's going to go, drive however far north and go show that farm, and he ain't going to go show him 3 or 4 other farms while he's there because there ain't any available. It's like you just kind of, when you start the process of looking, you filter through what's there, and there's not much. Most of what is there is a little stagnant, probably overpriced, or there's maybe there's something wrong with the access, or who knows what it could be. But when you're a buyer today, you filter through that, and then you're really just kind of waiting, and then you're like you have to be on it and be watching, and you got to be working with somebody that is full time and ready to go today, just like you. Like he called this morning, hey, we should go look. Sounds good, let's go. So you just got to be. You got to know what you're looking for, and I can't really stress enough that you got to be prepared. You better know what your budget is. You better know where you're borrowing your money, because you're probably not the only person looking at that farm. So you're going to go look at it, so is somebody else. And if you get into a competitive situation, you have to have somebody that can guide you in making the most aggressive and most appealing offer that you can, which is going to include your financing terms and all of those things. So
that property I'm going to show it just came on the market 2 days ago, and there's showings lined up this whole weekend. He's like, hey, we've been looking for probably 6 or 8 months, and he's like, we need to go look tomorrow and get ahead of this curve of all the showings. And I was like, yep, let's go. So it's kind of the same deal with the Missouri market over here. It's the quality properties, when they come on the market, they're going fast.
They're going.
It's you got to be on your toes and be ready to buy.
Yeah, and we're seeing, over and above list price. You see creative offers like escalation clauses, and hey, I'll pay this much up to this much, and then this much over any other offer, and it's like, that's a competitive market. I've been in markets where it's, you can list a property and you don't get a phone call for but those markets have passed, and where it stands today, I don't really see any change. Drew, would you agree?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, we are seeing, because it's the beginning of the year, you do see some things start to show back up on the market, maybe a little bit more than, the holiday season, people kind of getting a lull. But the value on property, if you don't go back 20 years, I don't think that people understood that the value that a property could bring. Well, now there's so many things that you can do with property, especially when you want to go just straight from a hunting standpoint. The white-tailed deer has created so much value for property, and people understand that now, and they seek them out, and they also don't let them go. So you're right. You better be on it. But we are seeing a few more. I think I've seen a handful in Southern Illinois that are starting to pop on. But I think it's that time of year where people they get through the one hunting season and they go, "This is our last hunting season. Now we're going to cut her loose."
Yep. And that's another thing you mentioned, like the beginning of the year. I listed actually a couple this week, and I told them this is actually a really good time of year, especially since our marketing is so geared for websites and everything that's on the internet. There's so many people spending more time at home in their lazy boy scrolling on the internet this time of year than say July.
It's cold now. There ain't much you can go out and do.
So I've been extremely busy the last couple of weeks just because I feel like that's what's happening. They're seeing that, they're like wanting to go look at these, and during the holidays, it slowed down, but then since the new year, I mean, it's just been
first
crazy.
Year, it always does this.
People would think this is a slow time of year when really it's not, because the way our marketing's geared for websites, they are seeing those properties because they are spending so much more time on those websites. So.
Yeah, you got people that want to upgrade. They may have got themselves in an equity position where they can sell that cabin in 80 acres, and now they're looking at 120 or 140 and 60 and whatever, and they're everybody's always making plans on improvements, but maybe upgrading or downgrading or whatever it might be. So
and from the hunter's perspective, it's a great time to buy because the prepping for deer season is not just a quick little 1 month thing. Like a lot of people like to buy in the beginning of the year, and they got all summer to get stuff ready. So it's that's
gives
a big
them more
part
time.
of it. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I agree. There's a lot of people that the season's over. They want to get through that. Now they're either looking to upgrade quality, size, maybe getting a cabin, or a lot of them have just lost their hunting rights to properties too. Where they may have been leasing something or had permission and that's no longer happening. And they're like, all right, time to buy.
Yeah.
You
Or
know?
they had a terrible season and they're like, I got to do something different.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Happens too. That happens a lot.
Absolutely.
You
Ain't
know,
no big deer on this farm.
I don't know if it's the same in Missouri as it is in Illinois, but having permission to hunt is almost non-existent. I feel like, you know,
I'd
having permission,
Yep.
not paid permission,
Mm-hmm.
just permission.
Yep.
You know, for people that you know, don't own a farm or don't have a family member or don't have whatever, you know, like it's tough
Yeah.
out there. You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
hear
just-
a lot of people say, "Hey, this is getting to be a rich man sport." You know, if you
just
can't,
like the land prices going up, the lease prices have gotten so high
100%.
that people are taking advantage of that. So it's like, well, if I can get $40 an acre just
Yep.
for somebody to come hunt it, like they're going to do that.
Yep.
100%. Yeah,
Yep.
we have seen that change over our time in the real estate business for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which
if they're
is
not
it's
paying
kind
money.
of unfortunate to see, you
Yeah.
know, because I think about the next generation,
Yep.
you know, and their ability to get out. Like if dad can't find a place to go, let alone for himself, but not, you know, even the kids or whatever. So it's rough to see, you know, but that's why it's important to really think through, is buying a piece of land even a possibility? And for some, maybe it's not, and it is what it is. But I think for a lot of people, they don't realize that they can take the steps that it takes to put themselves in a position. But, you know, it doesn't come without sacrifice and,
Yeah.
and,
Right.
and you know, a lot of hard work and a lot of conserving and a lot of trading this for that to get yourself into a point where you can. So
Yep.
I don't want to make it sound like everybody should be able to just go do it, because that's not the case.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I do. You mentioned leasing. Leasing is just a phenomenal alternative, though. You know, I mean, even some of the ground that I've owned, you know, you look at some of the costs you might have involved with just interest,
sure.
and then you think, well, I could lease that ground for a fraction of that, still get to hunt it, don't have to own it, don't have to pay taxes, don't have to pay interest payments,
Yep.
but yet still have land to hunt.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what has maybe driven the lease prices up a little bit.
100%. Yeah.
But it's still very, I mean, you can really, as far as a cost effective way of getting some land to hunt on, even though it is expensive, it's still
cheaper than
cheaper than owning it.
Yeah.
You know, that same amount of acreage, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Do you guys ever help anybody with any leases or anything, or just it's just kind of hearsay if you know?
a little bit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got some people asking stuff, and it's kind of tough to find stuff. But yeah, there's plenty of people that ask about it.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah. And I mean, it's more like, you know, when you're working with a buyer, you know, maybe helping them set up you know, if they're not hunters themselves and they want to,
Mhm.
you know, take in that income, then, you know, we try to work on trying to find them a suitable
Yep.
tenant, you know, but, or, you know, rent, just row crop, you know, farm leases, you know, we get into that too. So
Yeah.
helping out with that. So,
I think where a lot of guys decide to take the next step from leasing to buying is the ability or inability to do any kind of management. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to be able to, because there's so much information out there today. Like if you can spend days on YouTube about, you know, how to do this and what management tactics to implement and right, wrong, or indifferent. There's a plethora of information, and I think a lot of guys, you know, you want to be able to make those kinds of improvements and increase your odds of a good hunting season and whatever, and you are a little bit handcuffed, obviously, when it's not your land, you know, to
Yep.
do that. So I think that's kind of when they see if they can take that next step into buying a piece of ground. But
yeah, I agree.
so are you guys, are you at the point where you're doing any management stuff on any of your farms? I know Drew's been out with his chainsaw a little bit already.
Yeah. I mean, this is always the time where I'm kind of chomping at the bit, because I've been sitting in a deer stand for 2-3 months, and I'm looking at the timber, and I'm thinking, oh man, I got to work on this spot. I got to do some TSI here, or I got to install maybe a water hole here. So I almost probably look forward to this time now just as much as I do deer season. It's like a new season.
Mhm.
So all
Yep.
those things I've been
Yep.
thinking about all year long, man, and what a perfect time to run a chainsaw.
Yep.
Yeah. There's
Yep.
always a season for something
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
comes when it comes
100%.
to deer.
Yeah.
So.
Great time to get in the woods. It's open. You're not dealing with as much brush or ticks or anything,
Yep.
and you still, it's fresh in your mind. You know, like what
Oh,
what you've been thinking about. I know exactly what you mean. You sit in the stand like, boy, that tree could go down, or that whole area. We can start, working on better bedding in that area or something, or like, boy, that one just blocks my view of that field or something. Just always that something, and it's fresh. I remember thinking about that last year. And you don't always get around to it, and this year you're like, oh, still there.
Still there.
So this is a great time to get started on that stuff. I'm always really working bedding and food. I mean, you kind of think like, well, what kind of food plot, what kind of crop do I want to put in each food plot next year, or what would have worked better, or access issues, if you want to do some screening, but then always bedding's always my top priority. If we can increase bedding, it always helps a lot. So
Drew had how many new water holes did you have out this year, would you say?
2 for sure. I did move. I moved one, so man, I'm sold on water holes.
Yep.
So I'll say when I first put them in, I was like, this is kind of gimmicky. I'll do it. And I didn't really monitor them, so that's my fault. I didn't really know what was going on with them. But I had a situation where 2 seasons ago I had a middle green plot in the woods, and we typically ran it. We've been running into that dry spell about every September, October, and I felt like my deer were sucked into that spot. This was 2 years ago, and I noticed it was about 2 weeks into that dry spell, they kind of dissipated. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but I had cameras other places on water, and I noticed how concentrated deer were on those spots. And I thought, man, I'm going to put a water hole in that. So this year, same thing, super dry spell. I didn't even have a food plot. So dry, I couldn't get anything. It was a dirt plot.
Yep.
But that water kept them sucked in, and it's not a gimmick for me.
Yeah.
So in that situation, I had 2 of my target bucks that were like, they were sucked in, they were drinking from it, and it became a phenomenal scent hub. Now, I did have some oaks in there that were dropping acorns, so there still was a food, aspect to it. But I've already got a couple places picked out where I'm.
Yep.
And
Not only that, but daylight.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
deer got to drink. I mean, they have to drink.
middle of the day, them mature deer were coming out there and getting them a drink, going and laying back down. I mean,
yeah.
Are these mainly that you have to fill yourself then, or are they
Yeah.
something that's set up for?
That was an obstacle this year that, so previously I'd had 2 or 3 of them in, and usually your rains will keep them filled up. But we had such a dry spell. I mean, from July, I think we had some rains in July, but by end of late July through August, we didn't have anything.
Yep.
And I did, I was just filling a separate tank, which was a total pain in the rear end to do that, trying to balance water. But then I actually, I think they would be like, for camping, they were just big water bladders. And I was able to get all the way in there on the 4-wheeler, and I filled them up. And at the time, I thought, man, this is such a pain in the rear end. Like is this even worth it? It was worth it.
Good.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I've not traditionally ever had to fill them up, but I think partly because of use. I mean, I had deer and critters coming to it, and they were just putting their head down and slurping. So I kept them full.
Perfect. Is that something you just had dug a hole, or did you have some kind of liner or insert, or what did you see worked best?
Yeah, I've just been using the. I just go to Tractor Supply. It's 110 gallon. It's like a cattle tank essentially. It's rubber, and I just dig them to where they're flush with the ground. I mean, it's perfect if you can get them recessed in a way that you can get some, rainfall when you get a big heavy rain to come in there to drain in there. But I mean, it's if you're looking to make a habitat change from a cost standpoint, if you don't mind breaking a sweat with a shovel, man, it's tough to beat that. $100 for one of those tanks. Let the rain fill it up. Sit back and watch.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. We my brother's done a few of those down at the farm, and I mean, he had it monitored right from the get go. But he was also he did not think it was a gimmick. He was really had a lot of trust in it, and knew it was going to work, and it did. I mean, it was
Yeah, I can't remember what they say, but it's like deer got to drink multiple times a day. Like not just once every 3 days, but it's like deer get up and drink multiple times a day, which a lot of people I don't think realize that or even think about. So when it gets really dry, it's a killer spot.
Yeah, and I noticed it even. It's fun to monitor to see when they're drinking at what times. I noticed that, once you got to that late October time period, I had my bucks were hammering it, and you could almost tell like they're just putting so much effort and energy. And I even had a sequence where it seemed apparent. I didn't have the doe on trail cam, but you could tell by his demeanor, and he's panting, and it was like, man, we're right over there. He puts his head down and starts drinking. You just tell how much he's exerting. It's really not much different than, if we're doing an activity, especially if it's not very cold outside. If it's warm, you need to rehydrate, and that's what they're doing. I had bucks just slamming them.
Cool. Yeah, it's very good.
Your target buck, he was out there a few different times during the day.
He hit it 3 nights. He hit it 3 nights in a row, and my brother hunted it the 4th, and I killed him at a different location.
that was a slammer too, man.
Yeah.
Congrats on that. Just
Awesome deer.
Phenomenal deer.
He just about tagged out. He had his second target buck come by, but he couldn't get on him quick enough. They were on the same doe.
Yeah,
What deer was that, Drew?
Yeah, so I had the 2 deer I was talking about hitting that water hole. It was a big, clean 10 that we got, I think, 4 years of history with this deer. And, so we kind of knew he was on the radar. After the buck I shot, I was already pretty hyped up. And I hear a grunt from the other direction, and I turn my corner, and we're like, this deer's framey. He's not like a giant, but he's got a big frame. And I was like, well, I know what deer that is. And I was not set up. I was not set up to shoot him behind me. I'm on a bluff, and he come right behind me. I'm pretty sure he hit my boot scent. Man, he come unglued, and he back up, he antlers from the brush, and I was full draw trying to get him killed. He did end up circling back around. So the deal was there was a hot doe in there because there was like 4 or 5 bucks that were in on her, and he kind of came back through, but I gave him a big enough whiff that he didn't want to come back in.
That's it works though. Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome. Now we do want to hear sometime. We're going to be wrapping it up here for this segment, but real quick, tell us the story of the one you did kill and the recovery of the broken antler.
Yeah. So the one I killed this year, don't have any history with the deer from prior years, which is a little odd. That usually we know what deer are coming back just from the trail cameras that we run. This deer showed up October 20th, and like I said, he was sucked into that water hole. The other clean 10 wide frame deer, he kind of pushed that deer out a little bit, but he just kind of took control in that area. Big, nasty looking triple beam side. I don't know if he had some kind of damage to his pedicle or not, but just junk going everywhere. And was able to kill him on Halloween, October 31st, and didn't really think much of it. Recovered him, took my kids, recovered him. It was a super, kind of almost like a core memory. It was their first track job. It was fun because, I don't know, watching kids track a deer. It's like, well, that deer didn't go right through that tree. Like they're just like there's like straight line mine. It was fun to kind of watch that. And when I recovered the deer, I noticed that there was like a little chip out of his base. I didn't think much of it, but very small. And the area that we hunt, we got a great network of guys that, for the most part, share information. Everybody keeps stuff close to their chest. So I had sent this to my cousin, and, the next morning, like first thing, I get a phone call from is actually a distant relative, but the guy that farms and hunts next door. And he goes, hey, I seen that buck you killed. I got his drop time. And I was not piecing it together at all. I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, from the year before? He goes, no, I have this deer's drop time from this year. And I still like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little slow trying to piece together what he's talking about. And I finally was like, do you have history with this deer? So he sends me a picture of it. in velvet, and it's got this big horseshoe looking, I don't even know, weird looking. It's not a drop tine. It's like a horseshoe hook. And he goes, I have that. And so he brings it over. It's like 20 inches of you would have thought like maybe a burr or something busted off the. So he was drilling wheat, and I think it would have been probably early October, jumped out of the tractor and sees this laying on the ground. Well, because he knew what deer it was, he was like, he had history with that deer. He was like, man, that's that deer. So it was really unexpected.
That's crazy.
It was just crazy. Like,
what are the chances?
I could have gave somebody $1 million to go find that thing. And
Never found it.
Never found
Right.
it. So it
And he didn't get out of the tractor because he saw it. He actually just had happened to
Oh,
jump
yeah.
out of the tractor
Yeah.
to check the planter or whatever, and it's laying on the ground.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, I mean,
it was just like a very unexpected. It was so cool. It was just kind of added to the story. So very, very unique.
That's amazing, and I'm expecting you to send me the video that you showed me once before, and I'm hoping that I can bring it and plug it into this, and you guys can see this because it is impressive. It's you would think it would just been a couple inches.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the
it's
chip
a
is
whole,
like this. The chip's so small, but it's like it's 100% it.
I was not expecting that.
just a nice little 20-inch addition. So.
No big deal.
Yeah, you've been on some slammers the last couple of years, and kudos to you for killing them too. So it's been good. Yeah. So, but for now, I think for this one, we're going to wrap it up. Be sure to stick with us here, and as we produce more of these and learn. We know they're not perfect, but we're getting there. We're learning more every time, and hopefully bring some fun content to you guys, both real estate, hunting, land management, anything and everything you guys would want to know. So.
Yeah, and I would say keep an eye on our website and our social media, Sports Afield Real Estate on Facebook and Instagram. Larry has hooked us up with TikTok, so I'm not on TikTok, but apparently we are. So we do have some properties there. But anyway, sportsafield.re.com is our website where you'll find listings. Currently, we're licensed in Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Ohio. I'm working on Kentucky right now. So anyway, keep an eye on our website for any listings that might pique your interest. So
absolutely. So until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While we are professional land brokers, these discussions are simply our opinions and should not supersede any advice from your tax, financial, or legal professional.